I used to work at a small structural engineering firm, 10 engineers, as a project engineer, so I used to deal with client inquiries about our projects once we had released the blueprints for the construction of the project. Most of the time we did house projects that never presented a challenge for the construction engineer, so most inquiries were about not finding stuff in the blueprints. If you have seen a structural blueprint, you would know that space is a valued commodity, so being a Tetris player is a good drafter skill. Then this call happened. I introduce to you the cast of this tale. $Me, your friendly structural engineer. $BB, big boss, the chief engineer of the company and my direct superior. Gotta love small companies. $IC, incompetent construction engineer. So one day we received a request to do the structural design for some houses that were meant to be on a suburban development, basically the same house with little differences built 100 times. In that type of projects, every dollar saved can snowball pretty fast, so we tend to do extra optimization that on normal projects might be overkill, so some of the solutions we do are outside what most construction engineers are used to. That was the case for this project. $ICE, one of the beams you designed is collapsing. $Me, are you certain? Can we schedule a visit so I can go take a look before we start calling our lawyers? $IC, sure, but I'm telling you we followed your instructions to the letter, so I'm confident it was your design that was deficient. Before going to the field, $BB and I decided to do a deep review of the project. We rechecked the blueprints, ran the models again, even rechecked the calculations by hand. We found no obvious mistakes on our part, so we started getting on a battle mood to shift the fault to the construction company. Number 1 rule of structural engineering: conflict solution. It's always the contractor's fault. So we put our battle outfit, visibility jacket, helmet and steel-tipped boots, and went to see the problem. $IC, the beam is collapsing. We had to scaffold it because it kept deflecting more and more. Effectively, we could see the beam getting deflected at simple sight, and that shouldn't be happening. We asked $ICE for a set of blueprints and started checking. Then we saw the problem. A column that we had considered and that was central to the design was nowhere to be found, neither on the blueprints $ICE gave us or the real thing. Keep in mind that it had no apparent reason to exist because it functioned different than the usual designs. $BB, hey $Me, it appears we fucked up. The blueprints that we sent them don't seem to have that column. I better start calling the lawyer and insurance cause it appears to be our fault. I was not entirely convinced. Remember, I had just reviewed the project, so I was confident that column was on the final blueprints. We usually delivered a set of signed and sealed blueprints and a digital PDF version so they could make copies and give them to their people more easily. So I asked $ICE for the sealed blueprints, and surprised the column was there. I was free to breath again. Rule number 1 was not bypassed. Now it was a matter of knowing who fucked up. $ICE, the blueprints you gave us are inconsistent to the ones we sent. Did anyone modify them? $ICE, oh, sure I did. You put a column there that was too expensive and was doing nothing. I asked one of our engineers if we needed it for some code compliance reason, and he said that if it was not structural it had no reason to be, so I deleted it on our working version of the plans. That was all we needed to hear. We just went to his boss, told him he had modified the blueprints without our say-so and that we were not liable for the failure. That day there was one construction engineer job opening and some happy workers got extra pay by rebuilding that part of the house. TLDR, if a structural engineer says something is needed, then you better believe it is. Oh, and it's always the contractor's fault. I'm so happy to work in an industry where the client is always right doesn't apply.